Mitsubishi, and my name's Mark, and I'm going to take you on a tour of our 2008 Grand Voyager limited wagon. We'll start with just having a look at the way the vehicle presents, and in black presents beautifully. Lovely alloy wheels, and you'll notice the tyres on the actual car are probably extremely close to new, probably 95% tread. Alloys on this right hand side of the car in outstanding condition, not a mark on them at all. Moving down the side of the car, it presents very similar to the front. Duco, tinted windows, all in perfect order. We come around to the back where the tailgate is, and you can see the factory scuff plate there. Also, you can see below the scuff plate all the reversing sensors as well, and just the small camera just there in the tailgate, which we'll touch on a little bit later. Coming down the left-hand side of the car, it actually presents pretty much the same as the other. Both alloys, once again, unscuffed, near new tyres, and on the left-hand side, not a mark. Just with the registration also on the car, we notice that it's 2nd of April 2014, so also comes with a lot of registration. Now we'll just go under the bonnet, a very easy release on the bonnet here. We just lift it up into place, and you just have your rod, which is actually highlighted by the yellow section of the rod, indicated to pop the bonnet up out of the way. Looking at a 3.8 litre V6 motor, 135 kilowatts, and 12.3 litres combined per 100 kilometres. So with a 75 litre fuel tank, you're looking at getting mileage of over 600 kilometres per tank of fuel. Very important to note as well, even though this car is a luxury car, does use regular unleaded. So once again, you're not spending over the odds having to buy premium unleaded fuel. Now, just prior to going through all the features internally on this car, a couple of really important features on the outside to take note of. Both factory remote keys here, and all three doors are actually operated by your remote control, as well as manually if you like. So 2 presses on the actual remote, and it will actually open your side doors to allow access for the kids or passengers. Also, the same feature does come on the tailgate, where you can do the identical thing, 2 presses on your remote, and your tailgate will automatically open as well. Great features if you've got shopping or a lot of parcels in your hands and you can't get them free. It's just a quick couple of bangs on the remote and she's all open for you. Obviously, coming around to the left-hand side of the car, identical feature on both side doors, all fully electric. And as far as returning them back to the closed position, same process as opening, just 2 pushes on the button and it closes and locks itself away. Now we move into the centre cockpit of the car, and there's a lot to have a chat about in here. We'll start out on the driver's side armrest, where we find all of the manual locking and unlocking buttons for all the doors. That includes all 5, so front, back and rear tailgate. We have all our power windows here as well, including power mirrors with the swivel function, so that you have the protection when you park in a car park at the local supermarket. Up higher on the side with the beautiful wood grain dash, you do notice your presets for your electric seat, so mum and dad can set their own positioning when they're swapping driving duties. When we move to the steering wheel and dashboard, you find a lot of things here that are of interest and really good. Obviously we have height adjustment in our steering wheel, so we can set it to where we're comfortable. On the actual front of the steering wheel, the controls on the front of the steering wheel basically give you all your trip computer information on the left-hand screen of your dashboard. So tells me that the system's okay, gives me tyre pressure indication, will give me fuel consumption indications as well, and direction and temperature. As you can see, quite cool in Melbourne today. Now when you move behind the steering wheel, once again a safety feature based on all your audio controls are here, but you never have to take your eye off the road. I can adjust the volume on the stereo or the station that it's playing just by toggling those switches, as you can hear. Really good features because you never have to take your lights off the road. All your wipers, and that includes the rear window, just on your left-hand indicator there. Now we move into the centre console section, and there is quite a bit to talk about here. At the moment I've got the main navigation menu up. Also, this camera is fitted, as mentioned earlier, with a reverse camera, so when we move into reverse on the actual transmission, automatically brings up the camera, which is really accurate. Probably just not showing as accurate as it is because the sun is beating on the rear tailgate of the car at the moment. We put it back into that position and it brings up your main menu for nav. We also have the radio and media section. You've got CDs, you can actually store music in the car, all your different AM, FM stations. So a really complex system and really good sound. I won't demonstrate it to a high volume because we might end up deaf. Coming down into the middle here, we've got climate control air conditioning. Now with this particular car, you have air conditioning into the rear. There are controls in the rear as well. So we can adjust temperature individually in the front of the car and the rear as well. All your controls are here, and you'll also notice just on the outside of these two, they're actually heated seats for the driver and passenger in the front. When we move down to this section here, this is actually your DVD main control, and I'll show you all the screens when we move into the back section of the car, which is the second and third row seats. Down into the console, basically small storage area here at the front. Does have the facility for an ashtray, which is removable if the family are non-smokers. In our actual drive mode, two ways to drive this car. We can move down into normal drive, or we can also move it down into manual shift, where you'll actually be shifting through the gears by the stick. So that's just an additional option when you are actually driving the car. The stick shift option, quite good if you're on a long trip and in hilly areas. Just assists you if you're running through the gears manually. So here I am now in the third row seats of the car, and one thing, we have full leather interior. The front, the second row and the third row seats that I'm in, they're all leather. One thing we touched on in the front of the car, the driver and passenger front seats are heated, so are the second row seats as well. So as far as comfort goes, this car actually, you know, I'm basically sitting in my lounge room at home. Both of the middle row seats you'll see are actually faced towards the back of the car, so if your passengers, and you can fit 5 in this section of the car, want to just sit around and have a chat on a long trip, more than easy enough to do it. Before I move on to all the extra features that these second and third row seats have, I'm going to pop back outside of the car and just show you a couple more things that the seats do as far as flexibility goes. And just before we do head back outside, you'll also notice just on all of the windows, if you're on a really long trip and maybe the kids want to have a bit of a kip, we just pop all our curtains up, and they're on actually both windows of the second row and the third row seats. So you do have a lot of features inside the car, and I'm only just touching on the actual seating at present. So we'll move back outside the car now, and I'll speak again in a minute. Alright, now we're back outside the vehicle, and as you saw from the interior when we were sitting in those second and third row seats, now I'm going to show you even more options with how it works inside. Once again, we just hit our remote and the electric door opens automatically. As you saw when we were in the car, all the seats were facing each other. Now when you want to return it back to its normal position, all we do is pull that lever on the side there, and we just swivel our seats back into position. They lock into position there, and then we can just bring them back into their normal forward facing position. I'll move around to the other side of the car and we'll do the same thing on that side. Once again, same thing, we're just using our remote because all these doors are fully electric, and we just spin both seats back to their normal forward facing position. Such an easy operation as well, you notice. The last thing we'll do before we look at all the audio and DVD features, we'll go to the tailgate. Once again, press of a button. Don't actually have to grab anything on the car to open any of these doors or anything. In the event that we haven't got the car loaded with the kids and the family, a few options you have here. We can actually put all these third row seats into the stow position. As you can see up on the side here, we have all our buttons that show you exactly what you need to do. And if we press on the actual stow button, it's just a press of a button, the car will do everything else for you. You'll notice that it's bringing all these seats down into the stowed position, creating a really large area for you to actually utilise if you need to move any large stuff. Really good technology, guys. This is fantastic. So you see the amount of space that it creates with these seats going into the stow position. And then what we do is to take them back to normal, it's the same thing, just the press of a button again is quite important when you are doing this actual procedure, that you don't have anybody inside the car, because you can crush their feet. So we bring all those back into the normal seating position, all forward facing, so that's for all 7 passengers. And what we'll do now is we'll move it back into the car and run through all the actual, another great amount of features that we'll show you in a second. Now I've moved back into our lounge room. Sam and I are sitting in the 3rd row seats here, and we've got our DVD fired up. Down on these, I've put the 2nd row seats back to this way just for the purposes of showing you the exact setup. We've got 2 DVD screens. Only choice of movie we could find was Chuck and Larry, so that's the choice for this afternoon. You've got your remote that controls all your DVD. As we saw earlier in the front seat, your master control where you actually put the DVDs in is up there. But then who's ever in the back row seats can just control whatever movie they're watching by the remote. As you can see, sitting on the seats, we have 4 of the factory Bluetooth headphones, which basically just a simple matter of just hitting your power button on the side, pop them on, and I've got beautiful sound running through the headphones. Now this car is equipped with all 5 headphones. And that means if you've got three kids in this 3rd row seat and these 2 facing back to the forward position, 2 more passengers, you've got the DVD running, so everyone's out at the movies, and they keep quiet while you're driving. And here we have the service books. As you can see, has been serviced by Nunawading, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge since new. You'll also notice we've got both factory keys, and seeing all the features that these keys control, very important that you've got both of your factory keys. So servicing's really good. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch the video. As you can see, this car has everything. If you're looking for a fantastic family car, something you can take on a long journey and you know the kids are going to be quiet the whole time, it's got everything possible that you could want. If you have any further questions about the video, feel free to call us here on 99070555. It's 99070555. Once again, thanks very much and have a great day.